What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again. More Destiny 2 action. And this is a video we're going to cover how to get prestige on the current Nightfall. So when you're seeing this, sorry we got it up so late, but you'll have about a little over a day by the time this goes up to get out there, try to get this done. It's obviously the Nightfall on the Pyramirdion, and we're doing it on prestige. This is going to unlock probably one of the most difficult achievements for Xbox and for Destiny in general, is to complete a prestige Nightfall. Recommended light level being 300 plus. So we're going to jump right into this. I'm just going to show you how we ran through it, talk through exactly what we did, and then talk through the few specific things that I think helped us knock this out. So if you're not familiar, the prestige version is obviously, again, recommended 300 light, which essentially does the following things. One, it gives you much less time. So you start with 17 total minutes. That's all you're going to get in this Nightfall. This is actually somewhat preferred, somewhat not. If you're like me and you kind of want to just beat it through, without having to worry about trying to get any weird glitch or anything like that to get it finished, this is probably one of the best ones to do it on, for the sole fact that you just get a standard time to do it in. So you have 17 total minutes, and then the only other big change for this is that enemies have more health and they deal more damage. That's really it. It's obviously the prestige version. It is much harder. I will say it took us about 10 run-throughs or so to finally get it all down. I definitely recommend the first big tip I have for you is go just do this Nightfall, run it through 2 or 3 times so you get familiar with the spots that you can run through, the spots that you have to kill enemies, and really the specifics for each of the different areas that you're going to see in this. Nothing with that really changes. The enemy spawns don't really change. Enemies themselves really don't change, minus the fact that they're just harder, and they deal more damage. That's really all it is. I mean, you're going to see a lot of deaths. I definitely die a lot of times. Me and my team definitely die a lot of times. So that's just kind of what you're going to get into and you're going to expect. Definitely doable though, 100%. There were a lot of times of the 10 runs or so that we did, I would say we made it to the boss and felt confident that we were going to be close to finishing probably about 6 of the times, and there were like 2 or 3 instances where we would have needed an extra maybe 30 seconds at the end and we would have finished it off. So we knew we could complete it. So we definitely think this strategy, it obviously does work. It worked for us. But as you're seeing, we'll run through it. So that first area, so tip number 1, you see me reload my rocket launcher right here. Do not be afraid to use power ammo, and use it often, because of the fact, specifically in this Nightfall strike, you're going to see that you're going to get a lot of orange yellow bar enemies, and typically when you do damage to them and you end up killing them, almost every time, not quite every time, but just about every time, you're going to see that they're going to drop power ammo for you. So what I do is I use my power ammo very, very, very often. The other key, just in case you're not familiar with this Nightfall strike, all of your abilities recharge faster. So grenades for me, and grenades for the entire team were the one thing that we absolutely used, and we used very often. Now, second tip for completing this, 100%, I absolutely agree with this, and this is, I think, what saved us the most time and really allowed us to finish this. Was, you can see right now we're all going invisible. What's happening here is that we have one hunter on our team that's running the void, and one of their special grenades allows them to drop that and allows them to go invisible from the enemy. Now the fact that they can throw this and you can throw grenades so often essentially allowed us to get through that entire area with a little bit of coordination, getting everybody stacked in together, all 3 close to each other, having our hunter throw that grenade, make us all go invisible, and we were able to run through that area with no problems. The other nice thing about having the hunter in the group is the fact that they can make themselves go invisible, which is going to allow them to grab revives pretty easily, and honestly just stay alive. I think our hunter, up until the boss fight, died maybe only 1 time, so big shout out Parker, big shout out to you, my friend. You had a really, really stellar run through this whole thing, so big kudos to you. But honestly, I think that was the one key that really, really helped us fight through this and make it through. Now for the other 2 members of the team, myself and our other fire team member here, we ran Titans. He ran a Solar Titan, I ran the Arc Titan. I'm the most comfortable with the Arc Titan, and I think this was a good mix as well, because you get a mix of the supers with the ability to throw super at the end, especially the last boss. He has a devastating stomp ability that can actually instant kill you, or just about instant kill you, especially on this prestige mode. So it's definitely beneficial to have that, where you can get some distance and you can get some range from him. I like the Arc Super here because you are going to get a lot of grouped enemies, so having the capability for me to get into a pile, really knock everybody out, and then keep moving was big. Additionally, I love my lightning grenades. The lightning grenades, especially the point damage for the boss, being able to throw 2 of them at once was really critical, and what it allowed me to do is just really stack on the damage right there at the end. You'll see when we get to the boss fight just how much we're able to put through pretty quickly, honestly, and that was a huge help for us, because you'll push the boss through the stages very rapidly, and that will help you progress until the end, where you can really just pour the damage on. So up until this point, it's pretty much the same raid. Again, those are the big tips. Really set your group up. Make sure you have a hunter with Void. Make sure you're coordinating when they're using their grenade, especially in the portions that you can run through. And as you see me here, very often use your super ammo, or your power ammo, power ammo, to knock through the bigger enemies, especially these yellow bar enemies. Big fan of the rocket launchers. I think that's just about what all of us on the group used, just for this whole fact that you do get a good amount of splash damage as well, and you do have honestly a lot of grouped enemies throughout this entire fight. So you're just clearing these areas. Stay as methodical as you can. Typically, it's the best if you don't really split off too far. You want to stay relatively close to each other. Definitely take these portions where you have to run through, take them very very cautiously, unlike me, where I ran through like an idiot and got killed. Because these can be really big time sinks, and especially for this, the fact that you only have the 17 minutes, you really can't afford too many mistakes. You can afford a few, as you obviously see we do have some, but minimize your mistakes, minimize your times that you go down, and like I said, stay with a group. Now as we get into this area here, there are some more specific strategies for the different areas that I'll cover. So beyond the class setup for your team, beyond spamming your grenades as much as you can, and beyond having those class setups, using your power ammo and your supers pretty rarely, or pretty frequently, I would say. I feel like I got my super about 4 times during the course of the raid, saving 1 for the very end at the boss, once he goes through his different stages. I definitely use one here. I used one in the previous area as well. These do recharge faster, so make sure to use them. Here's one of the specific rooms that you have to have some strategy in, and you have to communicate. With the hunter, definitely recommend the hunter goes to the right, and tries to get that front right portal pad, or whatever you want to call it, to knock that out, and get that altar activated. The other 2 Titans for us, you're going to see myself and our partner here, Jimmy, we're going to work through, and we're going to head to the left. This is one area with kind of the tight quarters and how they've set it up, and the fact that all of these Taken can make each other immune. You got to be very specific, and you have to really plan to make your moves here. Now the reason we split in 2 groups, although I just said in most instances you want to try not to, the reason we split here is because we want to get both of these altars up, because we want everything else that's going to spawn in the middle, so that we get max damage from our grenades, and we get max damage from any other supers that we have used. So you see our hunter here using his in the center, really creating a ton of orbs of light, also knocking out a ton of enemies. The key is also to stage your supers so that you're doing that, so that the orbs of light will be created, so that everybody can pick them up and get their supers recharged even faster. So you can see here, I use my super on the left hand side. Our hunter used his super on the right hand side. I obviously go down a couple of times, but a pretty successful push through here. We're at 8 minutes as we just finish up that 3rd altar, and honestly this is probably the second of 2 hardest parts to make it through, in my opinion. The next hardest part is going to be getting through and hacking the different pillars. But honestly, having the hunter again with the ability to go invisible is absolutely critical. This is an area you absolutely can run through. We try to. I don't know how I honestly got killed right there. It says I ran through those things. I really thought I was clear. I guess I wasn't. But another instance of my team is going to go ahead. My hunter's going to pop his grenade down. They're going to go invisible, and they're just going to sprint right past everything, and they're going to pull me forward. Honestly, as long as your hunter is doing a good job of staying invisible and moving forward, you will progress through the majority of this while saving quite a bit of time. Which is pretty nice. So you are going to see I'm going to have to run back through here, which is okay though, because they push so far forward that there's only one enemy remaining, and I shouldn't have too hard of a time, as long as I don't hit my head on that. Shouldn't have too hard of a time pushing through and making it through to the end of this. So those are really honestly the most basic of the tips up until we get to the boss fight. You'll see here again, and for some reason I can't do the platforming aspect of it. This is another area here where our hunter literally, he just pushed forward, he stayed invisible, he was able to hack 3 of the 4 without even going down. So he pushes forward, he hacks this initial one, which is right in front of you. He then drops down and hacks the one on the very bottom, stays invisible, moves all the way to the left and knocks that one out with only the right one remaining, and he ends up going down. But again, this is an area where we've been here multiple times with different class setups and things like that with 6 minutes, and this can easily take you three or more minutes to clear through, just because you have so many tough enemies in here. You got the 2 snipers up top, you have just a ton of good enemies in the mid. The nice thing about doing this strategy though, and having your hunter make those moves, is it allows your 2 titans to kind of hang back. We can clean up, we can mop up these enemies, and all the while we're picking up very much needed power ammo, which again drops pretty regularly for us, but we're not going to end up spending any in this area, which is going to allow us to save all of it for the boss, which is absolutely critical. So I think I go into the boss fight with just about maybe 4 shots in my rocket launcher, which is absolutely critical. You can see our hunter respawn, move forward, got the last of those 4, and now it's just a sprint to the finish for us. I don't even think I make it through here. No, I don't, because there's just so many enemies. But our hunter is literally, he's already dropping down into the portal, and he's going to go trigger the boss fight. You're seeing us trigger the boss fight with just under 5 minutes left, which definitely is enough time. And the nice thing is me and the 2 titans, we ended up both dying, but with him triggering the boss, he's going to end up allowing us to respawn and then join in on him, and we'll be good to go. Now, if you can plan it and you can make it work, I definitely do recommend trying to get your entire fire team down there to trigger the boss at once, because when he first steps out, he's extremely vulnerable, especially to grenades like mine, where I have to plant them on the ground. And he's not going to move, he's going to step there. You'll see it was just our hunter doing damage. He did a great amount of damage by himself just with his grenades, but not quite as much. We've had it down where we actually get him lower than, we knock off a little more than 1/3 health, which is absolutely critical. Now, again, another nice area where the hunter can stay invisible here, and he can actually just cap these points. The key for this boss fight, one of the 2 keys for the boss fight is, 1, you want to get as much damage as you can up front, right in the middle, right when he spawns, like I said. Key number 2 is you really want to work through, get these shields down, get him to progress through these different stages as fast as you can, because you want him to get to the point where he's always vulnerable. Now, with that, you obviously know, if you've played through this, that once you do that and you get him to that stage, he calls in a ton of adds, but hopefully by that point you'll have him near 1/3 health. And if you can do that, even if you die, you're going to see us die, the entire fire team die quite a few times actually. If you can do that, you'd still be able to pour on enough damage. You'll be able to stage your supers one after another. You'll be able to get some adds as well as do some really good damage against him, and you guys should be able to finish this off. So again, we're trying to progress him through. He actually hung around in this area a little bit longer than I think he normally did, which is absolutely okay with us. because we were able to pour in some pretty good damage. You see him here, he's triggering his second set. He will do this twice, so this is the second of 2 sets. His sniper shot that he has is absolutely brutal, as is the flames that he fires, because they're no chance for the Titan shields, because they do that AoE damage. So again, we're just trying to progress through, we're trying to get these down. I do like the 2 Titan set, again, also for the fact that you're going to be able to have these shields and you're going to be able to use them very consistently. This ability does recharge faster as well, so make sure that you're throwing them and you're using them very quickly. But again, you're going to see lightning grenades here just doing really good. I do like to stick mine and have them shoot out against surfaces, not necessarily just on the ground. I like to have them go off of walls and things like that. I think you get a better push from them. But you're going to see here, we knock this out, we get him down, and then again, these grenades, since I can drop them both at his feet, I'm going to get a ton of damage. We're talking 2,000, a little over 2,000 damage per pop each shot of those. If he stays there for a few seconds, I'm probably getting 2 or 3 hits on him on each grenade, which is really solid. Now here you see me, I've really held my power ammo until this point, and this is where we were having the problem. You saw him just do the stomp there. Here's where you want to try to stay away, get as much damage as you can without getting close to him, because that stomp, not only will it push you back, and there you obviously see the holes inside of the map itself, but you also see the fact that the amount of damage he can do is absolutely brutal. And so if you get too close and you're inside of that stomp range, you see he hit me once with it right there, basically took me down below even just my shield health, and then the second stomp pretty much instantly killed me. So you got to try to stay outside of that range. The nice thing there for me was my super was pretty much almost done. I'm not the biggest fan of the Titan super here, except for the fact that it is going to work a good amount of the ads on the side. It's also going to do a pretty good amount of residual damage as long as he's inside of it. So you can see here we've got just under a minute left. I'm going to get one of my grenades in, definitely low on health. I definitely feel like we can do that. I was trying to get out my my power weapon and get one more rocket launcher shot in him. The key here is this is going to be something that happens to you guys, especially if you get this close near the end. Your whole team's probably going to die. The biggest thing to remember with the amount of ads that is there, you got to focus on the boss, you got to get up, you got to throw whatever grenades that you have or whatever damage dealing abilities that you got to get them in. You're going to see, boom, we finish it there with one final shot, and that's it. We barely get it. We get the prestige achievement, which is absolutely awesome, 120 gamer score, and we finished with 9 seconds, 9 ticks on the clock. We just get showered in engrams and everything else, tons of tokens as well. So that's about it. That's the tips. That's a full run through. Again, by the time you're seeing this, get your team together. You do have a little over a day to finish this out. Definitely recommend trying to do it on here. Again, don't get upset, don't get frustrated. It's going to happen. You're definitely going to run out of time multiple times until you get the full run down, but it is definitely doable if you follow some of the tips and the guides that were provided for you. So I've been Doc with Average Gamer, guys. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Hopefully you're out there, you're going to knock out an achievement sometime soon and get that prestige going. And yeah, we'll have more Destiny 2 coming at you real soon. Again, thanks so much for spending a few minutes of your day with me and hanging out with me and watching this video. And again, if it was helpful, hit a like, hit a comment, and if you're new, please do subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.